usually wait till Tuesday morning to make this recap video here for the NFL week, but someone was like, you might as well make it early since there's no Monday Night Football game this week, and well, everything's more fresh in my mind from the Sunday game, so I'm like, yeah, I might as well do a Monday morning. That's a good point. So thank you for the recommendation. I forget who you were, but anyway, a little bit more on this Eagles win over the Giants. The reality is setting in of losing that draft pick, and the team's still kind of sort of looking like the Chip Kelly type offense. I know I dwell a little bit more on the factors or portions of the game that didn't look like the Chip Kelly style offense in this first game post Chip Kelly era here, but I kind of expected it to look a lot, because like I said, a lot of this team is guys that have been playing here for 3 seasons, and they've got used to that high tempo offense, so it's kind of like hard to just completely sever it and break from it. But I like seeing Bradford doing a lot more play action, lining up under center a lot more. Obviously the 2 running back touchdown runs were from Bradford, lined up right under Jason Kelce. I formation type stuff that you want to see especially when you have a more powerful running back like DeMarco Murray on your team. But there was aspects of this game that just looked atrocious. The defense looked awful. Aside from that Thurman pick 6, there was just so much of just getting picked apart, 3rd down completions given up for 1st down, and a lot of the problems are still there. It's not like Chip Kelly went away and all of a sudden the defense all of a sudden had a moment of clarity. It's like yeah, the passing quarterbacks of the league are still going to tear this team apart next year, other than something drastic happen, guys stepping up. And Eric Rowe played solid to a guy that's kind of forgotten about here because he was sticking ODB all game, most of the game that I noticed where he was positioned up on a guy, he was sticking ODB, and held Odell Beckham Jr. to, it was like 50-something yards. So, that's worth something. That's worth some promise. That's a draft pick where we were wondering this season, like, wow, that was a wasted pick, because we saw what Megatron did to him on Thanksgiving Day. But he's been playing really well since then. Really well. He looks like he's going to be a solid secondary guy in this league. But that inside linebacking core. Now, to be fair, Kiko Alonso had a big tackle on 3rd down to force the Giants to punt, and I'm like, holy shit. And then Marcus Smith with a sack. Not just half a sack, a full sack. And it was like a professional level type sack. It wasn't just like accidental where Eli was running and tripped and then, Marcus was like, tag, you're down. Marcus came around on a linebacker blitz, full out flank around the back, and then Super Smith jumped in the air, was like, rah! And I was like, who the fuck was that? Who the fuck was that making the athletic play? Because I didn't even recognize the number, because I don't see Marcus Smith on the field all that much. I'm like, was that Marcus Smith? Holy shit! The play of his career to date by far. He still sucks. He was getting pressure late in the game, especially on that final drive. Alright, yeah, he gets one game of applause. Anyway, but offensively, hey, 5 touchdowns, well, 4 touchdowns, the 5th touchdown was the Thurman pick 6. Like I said, other than Ertz, Matthews, and Bradford, there really wasn't much else to point to in this game, other than a one big run that you had by DeMarco Murray in the beginning of the game. Really wasn't much else to point to. And Jordan Matthews, as good as he did in this game, there was a little lob pass that Bradford gave him in the first quarter, and he is literally just completely burns the coverage on him. No one, not even in danger of hearing footsteps or getting scared or anything like that. He had coverage beat. He's watching that ball come in the whole way, watching it the whole time, watches it into his hands, and the ball, it hits his hands square where it should. Bradford, absolute lob pass, not a ball with high velocity or anything like that, like a dart down the center trying to thread a needle, and that ball falls through his fucking hands. If this guy can get rid of these dropped passes that are just absolutely rudimentary, simplistic, fundamental, easy passes to get, if Jordan Matthews can get rid of dropping these easy gimme passes, he is going to be a superstar in this league. He isn't going to be a burner like Deshaun Jackson or anything like that, but he's got great size and ability to play the slot, great size and ability to be a good go-to receiver in red zone. I mean, if he can get rid, he would have probably had a touchdown, if not at least a 40-yard completion on that play. It goes right through his fucking hands. He's got to stop doing this shit. It happens all the time with him. He's got to figure out a way to have that stop happening. But a big game for him nonetheless. I'm not going to say like, all his good play was thrown out the window, because, man, he was a go-to guy in the end zone, and he was a go-to guy in the slot, and Bradford was finding him and Ertz all over the field all game. Good on him. But, man, get rid of those simple drop passes, Jordan. You're going to be a superstar in this league. Pat Shurmur got emotional in the post-game interview with the news reporters, and it was, it was just nice to see him feel glad and see this team, rise somewhat up out of the ashes after Chip Kelly got fired, and see that the team was willing to put forth the effort to win. And again, would I have liked that higher draft pick? Absolutely, I would have. Would I have liked to not play Seattle in Seattle next year? Absolutely. But let's be realistic, and I said this in my post-game interview, easier schedule isn't really going to amount to a hill of beans here for this team. This team is going to have a very difficult path to take next year, whether they had to play St. Louis or Seattle. You're playing the AFC North and you're playing the NFC North next year. It's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to throw on you, a lot of good quarterbacks that can throw on you. And frankly, I don't see too much optimism for this team right now as far as, doing damage. So it's like, I don't care if you play Seattle or you play St. Louis, you're not having an easy path next year. And this team needs a lot more than a better first-round draft pick to become better. Obviously, you might get a better key player with a better draft pick, but, us not having a second-round pick is what really is ultimately going to fuck us over in this draft. Not picking, 16th or whatever compared to picking potentially 8th or 9th in the draft. Anyway, that's it for the Eagles. That's it for their season. Let's go on to the rest of the Week 17 week in review here. New Orleans beats Atlanta. NFC South battle for, I don't know, battle for whatever. New Orleans wins a football game 20-17. Jets fans, I told you weeks ago. I think I even said this after the Week 3 game against, when I did my review of the Eagles, that, the Jets, or it may have even been before the Jets-Eagles game in Week 3, where I was like, the Jets are going to be that type of team where they're going to tease you all season long. Like, they start out, they won their first 2 games and then lost to Philly, but then, won again. All of a sudden, they're 4-1, and I think they even got to 5-1. And I'm like, Jets fans, we all know how this is going to end. And I said this numerous times. Those of you who have been watching my videos know I've been saying this. The Jets are going to do enough to tease you all year long and fall just short of making the playoffs. What happened? You had a Bills team that has been being pushed over. But the Eagles just beat the Bills, for crying out loud. Jets lose to the Bills 17-22. And what did Fitzpatrick have like 3 interceptions in just the final half of the game? Talk about not showing up to care to get in the playoffs and do some damage. Like, you beat the Patriots the week before, and then you go on to lose to the Bills. That is why I told you Jets fans to pump your brakes and not get too bought into the hype of this team. The Jets are the Jets. And kicking their fans in the nuts seemed to be something that the Jets have just been all too familiar with doing. Speaking of teams kicking their fans in the nuts, the Chicago Bears lost to the Detroit Lions 24-20 in a football game. Better luck next year for both teams. The team that isn't the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, my hair is like sticking up out here. That's why I put the hat on, because I don't feel like combing my fucking hair to make these videos for you guys. I'm sorry, I don't. This ain't Michael and Kelly, you know. I'm sitting in the wardrobe room for an hour before I come on the air with you guys. Why did I reference a non-sports talk show? Anyway, Baltimore loses to that team from Cleveland. It isn't the Browns. 24-16. Another one-score loss for the Ravens. I think that's their 7th one-score loss, 8th maybe one-score loss. I don't know, whatever. They lost. I'm sorry. Like, I'm seeing my calyx stick up in my reflection on my screen here, and it's driving me crazy here. Fucking shit. Okay, give a shit. Pittsburgh. They said, go. It's still fucking there. Pittsburgh beats the Cleveland Brownies 28-12. Coach Pettin gets terminated immediately after this game's over. It's looking like Andy Reid in the it's looking like Chip Kelly. Jesus, was that a slip? It's looking like Chip Kelly is showing intense interest in coaching the Browns. I'm sorry to hear that, Cleveland. I'm sorry to hear that. Cleveland is a reminder here in Philadelphia of what you don't want to become. Because yet again, another GM and coach getting bounced out here. Another year of rebuilding, of who knows what the future holds, what kind of system we're going to have with what coach. Is it going to be Chip Kelly? Is he going to get rid of the, I mean, is there anyone, like Johnny Manziel would have to go immediately. Like, immediately. Because he's not a culture guy. Because he does bad things off the field that aren't good culture. Or if he does keep him, he gets to be called a hypocrite, a racist for not firing the white guy that has off-field issues and stuff like that again. So Chip Kelly be, fucked either way. But, yeah, Chip Kelly, you'd have to fire Johnny Manziel. You have to fire, trade him, or cut him for nothing. And let someone else pick him up, like the Dallas Cowboys. Anyway, again, Cleveland is that team where it's like, oh, man, as bad as it is here in Philadelphia, you don't want to become the Browns. You don't want to become the Browns. Or you can't even go 2 consecutive years, going into the next season, going into a hopeful 3rd season with the same coach or the same GM or the same quarterback. And just, I'm glad I'm not the Browns. Like, I'm still glad I'm not the Browns. As bad as things are here in Philadelphia, at least we're not the Browns. But we can become the Browns, and that's something you don't want to be. As for the Steelers, going right back into the playoffs, fuck that fucking hair sticking up out of my bangs. 28-12, Pittsburgh wins. Pittsburgh's in the playoffs, and a team that hopefully wasn't going to make the playoffs if the Jets had something to say about it, and the Jets didn't have something to say about it. And now you got a team that's, that's got a hot hand. I know they looked like shit against the Ravens last week, the Steelers did, but they've been playing really good football with that one minor misstep aside. Washington started benching starters in the second half, brought in Colt McCoy to play against the Dallas Cowboys. Colt McCoy had a 70-something yard touchdown. If only Tony Romo was there to stop that play from happening. That's why I feel bad for Dallas, because if Tony was there, Colt McCoy would have not got off a 70-yard touchdown pass. Just no way of happening. It just isn't going to fucking happen. Another backup quarterback wins. Washington Redskins win 34-23 over the Dallas Cowboys, led by an entire second half of Colt McCoy carving up a team that did not have Tony Romo on defense. And it stinks, because if Tony Romo was on defense, Dallas would have won this game. Jacksonville at Houston. I know everyone's like, well, look who Houston has to face in the first round. They have to play the Chiefs. I hate to break it to you, but Houston's playing hotter football in these closing weeks going into the playoffs, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not, that's not my full all-out prediction here, but Houston's playing all-out hotter football than the Chiefs right now. The Chiefs may have been on an impressive streak since going 1-5 and winning every game. But if you look at the scores and you look at who's really making more noise recently, just saying. Tennessee at Indianapolis. Indianapolis wins a football game and doesn't make the playoffs because the 10 other fucking things that had to happen in order for the Indianapolis Colts to make the playoffs didn't happen. 30-24. Yay. New England at Miami. Well, I give up. Who's representing the AFC in the Super Bowl? I give up because this offensive line of New England looks horrible. Horrible. I don't care if Tom Brady's your quarterback or not. He is getting hit left and right. He is not getting time to make good decisions. A good defense is going to punch the Patriots in the mouth in the playoffs, and I feel confident about their chances. Miami wins 20-10. New England had everything to play for, getting a bye and not letting Denver get that bye, but we'll get to them in a second. How many times was Tom Brady sacked in this game? Let me just look that up real quick. All right, only twice, but he took quite a few hits from what I saw. And got a lot of rushed passes, and Jesus. I give up. Who's representing in the playoffs hard? Is it this team? Tampa Bay, not them, their opponent, went to Carolina and lost 38-10. It's Carolina now the team to beat. After what happened at 4 o'clock, you might be inclined to... Anyways, big, impressive, commanding performance. Whipped that Tampa Bay ass, throttled that Tampa Bay ass twice this year. 38 points is 38 points, even at week 17. That is still impressive. Oakland at Kansas City. Again, are you impressed by Kansas City winning 23-17 over the Oakland Raiders? And that's pretty much the theme of the season here for Kansas City. They're not exactly blowing people out. I don't know why people are that scared of this Kansas City team. And we may or may not be in for a surprise. Speaking of fucking surprises, I don't know if we can write this off as Arizona didn't care to show up since, Carolina wrapped up, first round bye, and they were seeing the scoreboard the whole game saying Carolina's manhandling Tampa, so this game now means nothing. I don't know if that's what the case was, but all I know is that Arizona team that took to the field looked like complete fucking shit. That did not look like the Arizona team that I've been seeing playing all season. Even the team that lost abysmally to the Rams in, was it week 4 or 5? That was awful. and Seattle looked every bit as much of a world beater as they ever have. How the fuck was that the same Seattle team that took to the field at home against the Rams last week and got beat by a backup quarterback? Like, how is that the same fucking team? How do you put up 36 points against what looked like a world beater defense to everyone this year, and then you lose to the Rams? I give up. I give up. Who is the favorite? Like, I've never had so much doubt in my expectations for playoff teams, and like, usually there's one or two teams you can point to, like, they're the definite guys that are going to make noise and get into the Super Bowl. Like, this year, I have no fucking clue. Like, literally, no one stands out. No one. Including this team. San Diego. Well, not San Diego. Their opponent, Denver. Apparently, the only thing, I don't shut up about anything else that happened in this game, because there's only one thing that happened in this game. And if you watch ESPN, you look at every publication, and if you look at everyone that is just worshiping the backup quarterback that came into this game, that completed 5 of his 9 pass attempts. Nothing else happened. Nothing else happened. Nothing. 5 passes were completed. 5 passes were completed. And that is the only thing that happened in the entire second half of this game. That is it. That is it. Nothing else happened. Just those 5 passes were completed by a backup quarterback that came. Oh my God. I'm so taken away. My breath is taken away. I was so fucking in awe of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 passes that were completed that led to no touchdowns. That is all that happened in this game. Like, I turned on ESPN this morning, it says, breaking news, backup quarterback comes in for the Denver Broncos and completes 5 passes. And that is the only reason why the Denver Broncos locked up the number 1 seed and beat the San Diego Chargers. So what else? I'm not talking about it. There's nothing else to talk about in this game. Nothing. I'm not going to talk. Did anything else happen? No. I looked at the score sheet. Nothing else happened. All I see is 5 for 9. That's it. That's all that happened. 27 points just fell out of the sky because 5 passes got completed for 0 touchdowns, and then 27 points. Like the sky opened up and God popped out, and I was like, "Fuck, God does exist." And then he just dropped 27 points on the scoreboard. And that's it. That was the only things that happened in the game. So there's no use about talking about anything else that happened. St. Louis, San Francisco. Football game. 19-16. San Francisco wins. Another coach fired. Do you guys want Chip Kelly in San Fran? Sorry if you do. But right now, San Fran and the Brownies got first dibs on interviews and first dibs to sign him and make him an offer he can't refuse before he goes somewhere else. You want Coach Kaepernick? Do the read option with him? There you go, San Fran. You got a read option minded coach. Sign him up. And in the final game of Week 17, Minnesota beats Green Bay 20-13, and it's just a boring game for 75% of it. It's just field goals in the first half, the Green Bay doing nothing, and Green Bay says like, "Oh, wait, we want to try to win this game," and then, never mind, we don't. Congrats to the Vikings. They won the NFC North, and may win a playoff game, but we'll get to all that in my playoff prediction video. If you guys want to join in with some other fans of mine on my Twitter, I'm going to be going over this in my playoff prediction videos each week. I'm going to put a poll up for each of the games that you can vote on right now. Link for my Twitter's in the video description. And also, I should have started this off in the beginning of my video. The Tigers guy made a top 10 Archfiend football moments here for my football videos. Anyways, I'll leave that linked in the video description. You should give that a check out. Also leave a link in the first comment I make here on the video. Anyway, thank you to Tigers guy for putting that together. I was like seeing like flashback clips of like oh my God, I forgot how insane I went in this moment, and then I forgot, oh my God, that's where I decided to turn the camera off and break shit in my house. And like, anyways, if you want to see the many years of insanity here in a top 10 format, go ahead and watch that video. Anyways, week 17 is in the books. All the teams without Tonys that still won, congrats to them. All the teams that are going into the playoffs, congrats to them. And the Dallas Cowboys, hey, congratulations to you. I'm just kidding, go fuck yourselves. Have a good time in the basement, Dallas! But we're sitting there watching everyone else in the playoffs with you, so I digress. Have a good day, everyone. Check out that top 10 video. It's a look into the insane football mind that is the Arch Fiend. Take care, guys.